Hi guys, I wanted to talk to you about something that happened to me today that was so weird. I was at someone's house today and I was sitting on their deck, and the deck faces west and you can see the entire city from that deck. So anyway, I was just sitting out there, you know, looking at the sky, relaxing for a few minutes. And the first thing I saw that was really weird was there were two cloud formations. One of them was shaped exactly like a bird, which was so weird. I mean, I am talking, the beak of the bird was perfect. I mean, it came to a perfect point, and then the head, and then the body, and the tail. And I saw that, I thought, oh wow, that's weird. It looked just like a bird. Then on the other side, okay, the bird's over here, and then on this side, you know how a baby bird looks with their feathers? They're like, don't have all their feathers, and their scrawny little necks, and they're out there going, oh, wow, wow, you know, trying to get their food. I about died. I looked to the right, and I thought, whoa. Well, there's another cloud formation that looked exactly like a baby bird with the scrawny neck and the, you know, sparse feathers and the little mouth open. You know, you could see the shape of the little head and the mouth open. And I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God, that looks like an adult bird and then a baby bird. And then strangely enough, the formation that was like the big, you know, the adult bird was going towards the little baby bird, to where the beak, which was like that, it was going like towards right where the mouth would be on a baby bird. And I was sitting there freaking out. I thought, wow. And I mean, it looked exactly like an adult bird and a baby bird. And right when the beak was going to get to that mouth of the formation of the baby bird, the clouds started dispersing. So I was like, wow, that's really weird. So anyway, after that dispersed, I was just looking up at the sky, seeing the beautiful, you know, it was like so clear, crystal blue, and then, you know, little patches of clouds. There was one big dark cloud to the right? So I was just looking at the crystal blue part of the sky, thinking how pretty a color it was. And as I was looking at it, it was so weird. Excuse me, this little white round thing, like, how can I explain it? It like popped out of the blue, okay? Out of the blue sky. It didn't come from the sides or from the top or bottom. I was looking straight up at the sky, and I see this white thing just come out of the sky. And at first I thought, oh my God, what, you know, what is that? Well, I could see it like coming this way as though it were coming in my direction, but it was so far away. I wish I'd had my camera so I could have zoomed, because the phone camera wouldn't have picked that up. So I watched it like kind of coming this way, and then all of a sudden it stops and starts going to the right. And I was like, what? And I thought, that's no balloon. Well, this thing started moving fast. It was moving at a fast pace. I mean, it was just like, I was literally like going like that to watch it, and I thought, my God, that's moving fast. Perfectly straight line. And I could see it was shaped like, it wasn't completely round. What kind of, it kind of like a lemon shape, you know, kind of round but not totally round. It kind of was like a lemon shape. And I watched this thing. I was just like, oh my God, look how fast it's going. And it went in a perfectly straight line. I mean, it was just perfect. And it freaked me out because I watched it as I was looking at that blue sky. I watched this white thing just like poke through the blue. That's the only way I can put it. I mean, picture this being the sky, and all of a sudden, bing, there's this thing. And I was like, whoa, where'd it come from? And so I continued to watch it, and it was going so fast, and I noticed it was heading towards there were all kinds of different clouds all over, white puffy, you know, little clouds, except for this one big dark one. I mean, it was a dark cloud, kind of purplish black, you know. And I thought, oh, it's going in that direction. So I thought, okay, I'm going to keep watching it till it comes out the other side. And as I watched it go into the clouds, I mean, it was fast. It was just like that, you know. I thought, well, I'll watch it come out the other side and see where it goes from there. So I was watching all around the cloud just in case it, you know, went up and down or, you know, went out the top or the bottom of the cloud. But it didn't, and I kept watching and watching and watching, and I thought, well, where'd it go? So I waited, I waited a good 10 minutes. It never came out of the cloud, never came out of the side or the top or the bottom. And I was like, well, that's weird. And the thing that was so strange is that I never saw it come out of the cloud, but all of a sudden the clouds started moving faster. And I was watching the other clouds around it. They weren't moving. They were just kind of sitting there. But all of a sudden this dark cloud starts moving, you know, this way. I thought, okay, that's kind of weird. So I thought that was so weird that I didn't see it come out either side of the cloud. It just went behind it and was gone. And guys, this thing, when I saw that come out of the blue part of the sky, you know how when you see something and your brain doesn't really, it's like, did I really see that? And you're like, you know, you're like, wow. And you start focusing really deeply hard on it, you know, because you can't believe you're seeing that. That's what happened. As soon as I saw that white just come out of the blue, I didn't even know what to think. And then when it kind of came forward and then just all of a sudden goes to the right, I was like, wow, that's not a balloon. Balloons don't just come out of the blue sky, and they don't go perfectly like this super fast. So it got close enough. I mean, it was so far, but it got close enough to where I could see the shape of it, which was like a lemon. And as far away as it was, I thought, that's got to be pretty big in reality for me to be able to see that shape of it. But yet it was, when I initially saw it, it was like a dot. I mean, it was like a dot of white. And that's why I had to blink, like, am I seeing what's coming out of the sky? And as it came closer in, that's when I could all of a sudden see the shape of it. So I don't know what that was, guys, but that's not like anything I've ever seen in terms of, you know, like airplanes or military. I don't know what military has or whatever, but that came out of the sky as though it poked through the blue. That's the only way I can put it. It didn't come from the sides, the tops. It didn't float in from behind the cloud. It literally was like, bam, I'm here. And it really freaked me out. As I watched it, that's the thing that really freaked me out. It was going along really fast, and then all of a sudden it kind of like slowed down for a bit, just like for a split second. And then I saw a poof of smoke behind it, like, and then it went fast. And I thought, okay, what was that? It was so weird, guys, because you know, we don't know what's out there. We'd be too egotistical to think we're the only, you know, life in this entire massive universe. And when it comes to UFOs, I don't know, you know, I'm kind of the mindset that until one lands and I see the aliens walking out and we see that they really are aliens, it's kind of hard for me to believe. But at the same time, I can't believe we're the only life. And I have seen some unusual things, you know, in regards to that stuff. Where I live, I look right over what's known as the Sandia Mountains. And sometimes late at night I have seen some very unusual things come up from behind that mountain, you know, like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. One night I saw a bright pink orb, like round light or whatever, come up. And it went straight up from behind the mountain, and I was just like, whoa, it was like 2 in the morning. I thought, oh my God, what is that? I mean, it was pink. And it just hovered there. It just stayed there, didn't move, but just glowed pink. And then all of a sudden it kind of moves to the right. God dang it, I got a hair that won't get away from my nose. Sorry. All of a sudden it goes to the right and hovered there. And then it comes back and then goes back behind the mountain. I was like, okay, wow, that was pretty weird. And other times I've seen things literally just come up from behind the mountain. Just straight up, a light just come out of nowhere. And I see them sometimes, they flash red, green, and white, like this. Red, green, and white lights, like it's, you know, just rotating around. And so I always wonder, what is behind that mountain or in that mountain or what? But I've seen that. And I always remember one time, gosh, this was back when I was in high school. That's in the 70s. And my brother, bless his soul, he was, I guess, around 10, and he wanted to go to the park. And we lived about 4 or 5 blocks from a park. It's called Wilson Park, and they had a swimming pool there. I don't know if they still do, but they had a swimming pool there. And he wanted to go just to hang out around the pool, so we went. And we decided to lay on our back, you know, kids. We're looking at the sky and just talking and laughing. He was my little brother. I loved him so much. And all of a sudden he hits my arm like that with his elbow, and I looked at him, I was like, what? And he goes, look, look. And so I'm looking up at the sky and like, what? And he goes, what are those? And I said, what are you talking about? Because I didn't see anything. And he goes, and then he grabbed my finger and he pointed it to a certain spot, and he goes, see that? And I was like, oh my gosh, what is that? I could see a little round, like a white thing up in the sky, way up. I mean, we're talking way up, guys, to where they looked like they were like that big. And then he goes, look. And so I look again, and this time, oh my God, I freaked out. I was like in shock. We were laying on our back on the grass in the middle of the day on a weekend, and I'm just like this. Well, there was a perfect triangle, and there on each side of that triangle, there was 20 of those dots, about 20 of them. And I was just like, what the hell is that? And he was like, what is that? What is that? And I was like, I don't know, Lonnie. I don't know what that is. And we just kept staring at him. We got so, you know, we were so shocked by it, we stopped talking. We were just staring at this perfect triangle of a ton of these white things in a perfect formation. And then all of a sudden it started to move to the right, and he grabbed my hand and I was holding his hand, and it moved in perfect like unison. I mean, that triangle went like this, and it just moved a little bit, and I thought, oh my God. And I was freaking out. And he goes, he looks at me, he goes, Lori, what is that? I was like, I don't know, honey. I don't know what that is. And so we kept staring at them, and then all of a sudden, they were gone. Just like that. And he was like, where'd they go? I was like, I don't know. Because clear blue sky. Except for, you know, little patches of clouds. He was looking for cloud formations, but just little patches here and there. And he used to like to do that. And so they disappeared, and I got so freaked out. I just grabbed his hand. I said, let's go. We're going home. We lived like 4 or 5 blocks from the park. We ran home. I mean, guys, we just ran. I was so scared. I mean, I'm pulling my little brother behind me as I'm running, like, let's get home. We got to get home. So we got home, and I told my mom about it, and it was so odd because she just looks at me and she goes, well, you never know. You never know what's out there. And that was it. She didn't say anything else. That was it. And I remember thinking, I just told you about something totally freaky, and that's your reaction. And that was it. She never brought it up again. She never said anything. She just kind of goes, well, you never know. You never know what's out there. And she went on about her business making dinner. And I'll never forget that, because had my brother not been there with me, I never would have noticed it, because first of all, it was so high up that they were just little dots. How he spotted it, I don't know, but he spotted it. And I only saw the one until he told me to look again, and then I saw the one, didn't see anything else around it. And then when he told me to look again, all of a sudden there was all of them. Just, I'll never forget that. It's still, even thinking of it now, I kind of get a funny feeling because it was so clear, just so clear. And being I was only in high school, I think maybe I was in 10th or 11th grade, something like that. I wish I'd had the smarts to yell for somebody, look, 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 you know. But I was so freaked out that it was just me and my brother laying right next to each other, looking at each other as we're like, what is that? I don't know. Oh my gosh, you know, we were like that. Don't know what it was, guys, but I'll never forget when they were gone. Just as clear blue sky, and they just disappeared. Just disappeared out of, just gone. So a lot of the things that I have seen happen have been, you know, very unusual. Especially over this mountain. It really, sometimes I get creeped out. Like I'll go out. I never let my dogs out in the backyard alone. I go out with them. I'm always worried that somebody's going to snatch them for some reason or whatever, because that has happened a lot. You know, people let their dog out and it's gone. So I always go out with them. And sometimes, I'm telling you, when I see these things come up from behind the mountains, I'm like, what are they? And especially the ones that have the red, white, and green go on, you know, circular like that. It's so clear. It's not, you know, like some people say, oh, it's a star. No, stars don't just come up from behind the mountain. They don't do that. And I'll see them flashing. And you don't just see the colors. I mean, you can see the colors flashing. Red, green, white, red, green, white. And sometimes they're just white. And one night I saw one that was blue and white. And it's so odd. I'll look up at them and at the light or whatever, and it just sits there. Once in a blue moon, you'll see it move a little bit, but usually it just stays in the same spot. And then, like one night I was looking at one that came up from behind the mountain. It was probably about 11:30. And I looked at it, I thought, what? I was like, what are you? You know, really, what are you? What is this? And I looked away like that for just a second, looked back, and it was over here. I was like, whoa, okay, I came in. It scared me, you know, because we don't know. We don't know what's out there. You know, you see what people would consider a UFO, and you do wonder, what is it? What's out there? We're just too vast of a system to be the only thing living. I can't believe it. And there have been nights when I look straight up in the sky and I see a bright light just, I mean, way high up there, guys, way high. You can just see it, just not a shooting star. I have watched them go all the way across, just watch them go around. I've seen some even circle back and go around. It's so weird. I mean, way high up there. And I wonder, you know, I once dated a guy who, he said that he was in Colorado. And he said that he and his, I don't know if they were married then or not, but the girl he married, they were in the mountains. And he said that they saw some weird lights in the distance. And he said, so help me God, I don't know what that was, but it was, he said, we could see it. We could see it clear as day. It was some kind of a something just lit up in the middle of the mountains there. And so, you know, I don't know, guys. I don't know what your thoughts are about UFOs and aliens and all that. I mean, there's so many stories, so many views, rumors, what have you. And you all know about Roswell. I mean, I live in New Mexico, so yeah, we know about Roswell. And then you know about Area 51 and all that. And we can't know. And now, what's so hard is when you see all these YouTube videos of people that say, oh, this is a shot of an alien, you know, look at this. It's so hard to trust or believe any of that anymore because it's so easily photoshopped. Somebody could be in a costume. It's just not easy to believe any of that stuff anymore. There was a time when you couldn't do this kind of crazy stuff that they do now with photography. And so when I look at those videos, I'm like, you know, I don't know. I can't. And that's what's so hard, because let's say that I looked out back and I really saw something, you know, an alien or something, and I took video of it. Man, what's the first thing people would say? Oh yeah, right, who was in costume? So you can't win. You can't win either way. So it's hard to know. But guys, I just had to share that with you because what I saw today, really, I just can't get that vision out of my head where it just came out of the blue sky, like it punched through the atmosphere, you know, like it punched through. And that was just, and the speed, it was, I mean, it was so fast. I mean, I was just like that, you know, not like any plane or anything I've seen go that fast. And to see that little of trail come out behind it was kind of weird too. But yeah, guys, I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but it's just, who knows, you know, who knows what's out there. And one of my favorite movies of all time is, I'll see if you can take a guess. Can you guess? Concerning aliens and stuff? It's Signs. Yes, the movie Signs. I love that movie. Don't know why, but it captured me like that the first time I saw it. I've watched it a million times since. I watched Signs, and I don't know what it is that it just intrigues me. It pulls me in, and I've seen it so many times, yet it still just pulls me in. I love that movie. And same with War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise. I don't know why these movies attract me, guys, but well, I've always liked mystery type of, you know, I don't like gore. I don't like blood, guts, and gore, none of that. But I do like very mysterious type of movies and things. And those movies I love. But, you know, guys, it is weird when you think about it. There's just, when I look up at the sky, it just blows my mind. I don't care. I've been here 62 years, and I still can look up there and think, what in the world created this? People will say God, people will say an explosion or some planetary whatever. Everybody has their opinions, and that's fine. But no one has an answer. No one can say, oh, I know such and such created, because we don't know. I don't care what you say, you don't actually know. You only know what you've been told or what you believe or what you think, but you don't actually know. And when I look up at the stars and stuff at night, I'm just fascinated, like, geez, how far does this go? And sometimes I wonder, like my daughter and I were talking one time, what if we're like inside of a great big old, like a big old dome or something, that we're inside of it, you know? That it's massive though, but that we're inside of it. What if we're inside of something? Because think about it, guys, how weird is it that with all the meteors and asteroids and everything flying through space, how weird is it that the Earth is spared complete catastrophe? I mean, yeah, they say that's what caused the dinosaurs to disappear years and years ago, but that was millions of years ago. How weird is it that millions of years later, Earth is still here? Something hasn't hit it and just destroyed it. That's fascinating. That's pretty weird when you think about it. And so you just, you know, everybody has their views. A lot of people think that, you know, what we're created from. Did we start from apes? Did we start from fish? Did we start from some kind of bacteria, some kind of bug? Who knows? Everybody's got their views. But it's fascinating when you look up and you think nighttime, and like during the day when I was looking at the sky today, I thought, how weird is it that we see what looks just like a flat surface of blue, you know? You look at it, it looks like somebody's just got a blue something up there. When in reality it goes on and on forever, And it's fascinating when you think about it. It's like, wow, how far does it go? How far does the universe go? How deep? What else is out there? And if there is alien life, there's a lot of views as to why they haven't shown themselves. You know, people say, oh yeah, if they showed themselves, we'd destroy them right off the bat out of fear. Or maybe they look at us as useless because they're so far advanced, they just look at us like, whatever, you know. Nobody knows. No, nobody knows. But you have to admit, guys, that when you look around, everybody, like I said, everybody has their views. Some say God created everything. Some say, you know, everybody has their views on how everything got here. And it is fascinating when you think about it. Something as simple as you take a tiny dot-sized seed and you can plant it in the ground and you end up with a tree that's massive. It's weird. Yeah, our whole life process is very unusual and weird if you think about it. And you can drive yourself crazy if you try to figure it out, because I got in a thing there for a while back when I was like, God, look at the sky, look at the stars. How many stars are there? What created? You know, it was just like going through my mind, and my son goes, Mom, you can drive yourself insane. Stop it. He was like, just stop it. And I did have to stop it because it was kind of like, wow, this is unreal. And then when I see things like I've seen here, it does make me wonder. I remember another time, this is back in 2011, I was sitting out back, and again I saw one of these flashing red, green, and white things. But this time I saw a beam shoot out of it. And I ran in. I mean, I was just like, I ran in because it was up there and it shot off kind of like at an angle. I saw the beam go like that. And I was like, oh shit. I mean, I just ran inside and I told myself, I was like, oh my God, it was a beam! You know, I was like freaking out. And he didn't want to go outside. He's like, well, just stay inside. And it freaked me out because when I saw that beam, you know, he was like, well, maybe it's a military thing or whatever. I said, I don't know what it was, but that was weird. Because after I saw the beam shoot out, the lights that were going like that, green, red, and white, they just stopped. And that's when I freaked out and I ran in. And then I got curious. So about 15 minutes later, I went to look back out. It was gone. So I don't know what happened to it. But I'm telling you guys, some of the stuff I've seen, especially here in New Mexico, a land of enchantment, you'll see a lot. There's a lot of people who have seen so many unusual things. And I remember one night, when I was married, this is back in '94, I believe it was, we decided to go sit outside in the front yard. Kids were in bed, and we were just sitting on the edge of the car, you know, just talking, looking up outside, and we saw a ton of little white lights. I mean, it was like hundreds. And that again was late at night. And we were both looking up and we're like, oh my God. It was like they were flying over. And I was like, holy shit, what was that? And we were freaking out. And so we watched him and we ran in. Oh, hello, how are you? My son just got home.
Hello.
So we ran in and I lost my track here. Oh, we ran in and we didn't know what to do. So I was like, what should we do? And he goes, I'm going to call the base. So he called the base and he told them what we saw and everything. So they said, well, we'll get back to you. And so we waited and we waited. And then a couple days later, we did get a call. And they said, sir, you know, how did they put it? They said, we appreciate your call, but it's really not necessary for you to discuss this any further. There's really nothing to it. And he asks them point blank, he goes, well, what were those? And they said, well, sir, it's unimportant, and you really don't need to be discussing this with anybody. It was nothing. And that's what they left it at. And I thought, well, that's a hell of an answer for what we saw. And so he did not like that answer, and then he called back and he was like, look, we know what we saw, why can't you tell us what it was? And they just said, sir, we'd appreciate it if you don't bother with us with this again, and hung up. That was it. That was literally, we were like, whoa. And that was the base, okay? So that made us even more suspicious. And then we got kind of scared because somebody where he worked at the time, he worked at Intel, and somebody at his job told him, you know what, you need to let it go. Do not, just let it go. Forget that it even occurred. Don't bother them. Don't call them again. So we didn't. And I'll never forget that because, or no, at that time he wasn't working at Intel. I'm sorry, he wasn't working at Intel. I can't remember where he was working at that time. Anyway, one of his coworkers told him not to bother anymore. Oh yes, he was. He was working at Intel. I take it back. Yes, he was. He had just started. So anyway, we just decided, okay, fine. But I'll never forget that because it was so overwhelming when we saw it that we were like not even breathing. We were outside just, you know, shocked. And that's the answer we got from the base. And so we just let it go. It was like, okay, fine. So anyway, guys, after what I saw today, I just had to share it with you because it shocked me so much that I was really shaken up. You know, I was at someone else's house and I was pretty shaken up at what I saw. And when I went inside, I was like, okay, I've got to just put this out of my head because it really got to me. So guys, I don't know what your views on all that stuff is, you know, UFOs or aliens or odd stuff out in the sky, but I just had to share that with you because it really got to me, and it's not the first time I've seen unusual things. And you know how it is when you tell some people, they're like, yeah, whatever. Well, I know a lot of you have experienced it, so you know what I'm feeling and what I'm going through, that it makes you think of and makes you feel. So anyway, guys, that was my thing I had to talk to you about tonight because it really had me on edge for a while because it was so clear and so perfect in broad daylight that God, how I wish I'd have had my camera. Oh, I'm so angry. I'm going to start taking it because from that deck I can't tell you how many times I've seen unusual things during the day, because it's from that deck you see the whole city all the way from one side to the other. Way out to the west you see the horizon, everything. And I'm going to start taking it because I've seen a few things now that have gotten me to where I think, okay, I need to start bringing it. So let me know your thoughts on that, guys, on your views on things you may have seen, or how you feel about it, because we don't know. None of us know. No one can say there isn't other life, and no one can say there is, unless, I don't know, maybe you've actually experienced something that, like I say, if I met an alien in my backyard and I took a picture of it, everybody would be like, yeah, you photoshopped that. So there's no way to prove you did. You know, it's hard. It's a very difficult situation, a very difficult subject, because there's no way to really prove anything anymore, especially with everything you can do with the photoshopping and stuff. Who knows what's real anymore? But that leaves you in a bad spot. If you, let's say they are out there and they are on this earth, and you did see one, and you know you saw one, you're not crazy, and you know you saw one and spoke to one or whatever, had an interaction. If you were to tell people, they'd be like, oh, you're crazy, what drugs are you on? There's no winning. So anyway, guys, just had to tell you of that experience. Hope you have a good night. And let me know your views. I'd be interested to know what you may have experienced. I really would, because I've seen a lot of things, especially going back to my little brother. I will never, ever, ever forget that day on a Saturday in the afternoon when we saw those. And my little brother was so scared. I will never forget running back home as fast as we could possibly run after what we saw. It was so scary. And that was the 70s, so that was a long time ago. But for a little 10-year-old boy to spot that, and then I saw it, it was like, whoa. It was freaky. So let me know, guys. Hope you're having a good one. Had to share because it's been on my mind all day. Talk to you later. Night, guys.